more minute. Okay, time up. Time up, everybody.
You are watching it. Invigilate the entry of the class. Yes.
I'm sorry.
Brother Stafford. Brother Stafford. We're gonna stand back.
Take it down, pull on her side. I lift it up and you take it down.
Look,
Mm-hmm.
you see I'm having not this right there.
Yeah, I got it.
No, not there, not from the side there.
Oh, oh, this is not fine. I got it. That's good. Better? Good?
So a little more if you can.
Come, sister Nina, come.
No,
here? Who sits here? You can get it for the thing here. Who sits in here?
Yeah. But I think I'm just gonna, I have another one. Where do you stand? You gotta put. Oh, you gotta sit? Oh, it's fine if you sit.
Yes.
So I could stand, but I think everybody should just sit.
You stand, Jean?
Yeah, it's fine if you sit.
Really?
Yeah, it's fine if you sit.
I'm just seeing someone chill. I could always.
I think I should pull this here. It might be too hot for somebody to sit on.
It's dying, so.
It's gonna go right down anyway. Just put it there. How many people? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're enough there for everybody.
So it really looks good.
The 6 main nutrition they need carbohydrates, essential fats, vitamins, proteins,
So we need another mic?
Yeah, he's gonna be passing it around.
I'm not recording all of
no,
that.
it's not right.
So I could ask a question and get the answer. Take off your jacket.
Come on, you're ready. Then I will write it down.
You want to sit here? You want to sit here? Sit there.
Take off your jacket.
You just insist that I must come.
Huh?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, you're the teacher. Come in.
Take off your jacket, you're gonna be hot.
I'm gonna try my best. Turn the camera to whoever's speaking. This one. I don't need a mic. Yeah,
Yeah, you need it.
the mic, so this is.
You already have one.
Yeah, but yeah.
That's what I'm asking.
This one? This again? This one?
Process your seat
Grab
there.
a chair. Grab a chair. No, sit down. Sit.
No, sit.
You can sit here.
No, you sit. Check your phones for the recording start.
So this afternoon, we will be looking at New Start. And this is third in line for, on the list of the 12 causes of disease. Now, God gave us this blueprint when He made us in the Garden of Eden as a part of the instruction that we should follow in order to maintain health on earth after we sin. Now, we're here this evening, and New Start is an acronym. And the acronym, it's New Start, which nutrition is for N, E for exercise, W is for water, S is for sunshine, and those are the 4 parts of the acronym that we will be addressing this afternoon as best as we can. We are going to do this, this presentation in the form of a panel discussion because we assume that everyone knows something about nutrition, water, exercise, and sunlight. And we will be looking at it through the lenses from a very basic perspective. And we are going to have a discussion that deals with questions from different people and answers. And that's how we're going to jumpstart this discussion this afternoon. And what we really want to focus on is the New Start in relations to disease. Well, how does it, what is this doing for us? What is the relevance of all of this to our bodies? How is it helping us if we follow them, or these laws of health that was given to us? So that's the premise from which we're taking it. And as we go through the discussion, you know, we will be posing questions and the answers will come from different perspectives. And that's what we're gonna do. So, one general question that I wanna ask is, what is the correlation between New Start, and let's look at it from the 4 that we're looking at today. We're looking at sunlight, nutrition, exercise, and water. So we're looking at those 4. So we want to just zero in on those when we say New Start. So what is the correlation? These, and we could take one at a time. So we don't have to say all of them. You could just deal with one at a time. Is there a correlation between sunlight, exercise, water, and nutrition or health? So that's a question. And if you want to say,
So correlation. So if I eat the food that is rich in calcium, but I'm not taking enough sunlight to have enough vitamin D, my body cannot use the calcium to be fixed in my bones properly. So the the vitamin D deficiency will rob me from profiting from the food that's rich in calcium I just ate. That's just one example. Another example?
sure.
Okay, maybe you eat a food rich in iron. If the iron is from vegetables, like green juice, all of that, for that iron to be absorbed, you need vitamin C. But if you get iron from meat, but you don't need vitamin C for that to be absorbed. But iron from the plant is better than iron from the meat. Okay, so there's always that level. Now, if you eat a food that have calcium, magnesium, and then you don't have enough hydration of the body, If the body has less of hydration, then the body cannot use the magnesium properly. And if the magnesium is also deficient, if you are deficient in magnesium and you drink a lot of water, the water cannot to be hydrated. So you're going to go in the bathroom and pee all the water out. And people drink a lot of water, and the next minute, you start going to the bathroom 1, 2, 3. Because your magnesium deficient, you have to take the water into the cells so that your cell can be hydrated. So when you are deficient in magnesium, no matter how much water you drink, you are going to be dehydrated. So it's a complete correlation. Nutrition, air, hydration, everything goes together. It's really, we can't separate them.
Yeah, and I want to add on to what Pastor Kuku just said in terms of the correlation between calcium and vitamin D deficiency. And you know, it is a renowned deficiency for people in North America. And vitamin D, we get that from the sun. In case we don't know, we actually absorb that and from sunlight. And it is critical that we are exposed directly to the sunlight in order to get this vitamin D if we're getting it from the sun. Vitamin D is classified as a hormone. And within our bodies, we have on each cell, every cell that makes our body up, a receptor to absorb this vitamin D and convert it so that our liver can utilize it and distribute it throughout the body. And it is not uncommon that we become deficient in calcium when there is no vitamin D. And a lot of times in North America, we have broken bones and then we fall. And we claim it is the fall that caused the bones to break, but the bone broke before the fall. So it is because of that relationship between that vitamin D that we are so deficient in and the sunlight, which vitamin D deficiency and the calcium. So there's such a close correlation in terms of the minerals. And Pastor Kuku also talked about your cells and its ability to pull the water in. If we are deficient in magnesium and also calcium, the minerals or the water cannot get in the cells. When you look at blood cells under the microscope, you can literally see the water molecules just bombarding the cell trying to get in, but it can't go in. And you'll find that, you know, because of this, as he said, we run to the bathroom. So that's one correlation between vitamin D, calcium, and health. So at the end of the day, we end up being sick because of some very simple things that if we understand how to deal with them within our body, we will be healthier people, live longer, and have more energy to do the work of the Lord.
Amen.
Can I add something about nutrition? Many times we see people that say that they eat very well and they're not eating well at all. They're eating very poorly and they get very sick. And nutrition is so important. Eating right doesn't mean eating a whole plate, whatever. It is choosing your food correctly to eat the right food. I had a guy last week. He had some heart problem, and he should not be eating salt. But he told me he eats well. He's a very plump guy. I said, you know, and in talking to him, I'm telling him, you know, you should not take too much salt in your diet. And what he's been eating, he admit he's been eating canned foods. and which is number one, thing that has so much salt because they use the salt to preserve the food. And he had no idea, but he thought that he was eating right. So nutrition is very important. It's not just eating McDonald's, eating big sandwich and stuff, thinking that you're eating right. So it is eating the right things, avoiding the refined foods, bread, and many other things. Because refined stuff, they just add weight to you and nothing else. And so nutrition is very important. It's something to look very deeply. We say nutrition, but it is more than the word. It is eating the right thing, and also things that are rich in the things that we need. And so nutrition is very, very important because, like you said, if you're eating the wrong thing, you get very sick.
Okay, so I can add a little bit. It is so important for us to see this. Otherwise, we will not make a decision for change. If you are deficient in iron, then you can breathe all the air you want. You won't have enough air in your system. Why? Because the iron in your hemoglobin will fix the oxygen and then go to distribute that to all your cells. So if your diet is very poor in iron, you are in trouble. Your cell will not have enough oxygenation and you're going to age fast. Now, also for the fat, if you're eating bad fat, you cannot make enough of vitamin D3 because for your skin plus the sunlight to make a good vitamin D, you need a good fat under your skin to do that. And the same calcium also comes with the synapse, where the transmission of the nerve functioning. So it's everything. Everything goes together. Now you have less magnesium, you are stressed. And the stress is knocked down your digestion. When you are stressed, you can't digest very well. It's like nutrition go with sunlight go with your cell don't have enough oxygen, and then everything is just like, you can't separate them. It's like very intertwining that you cannot separate them. So it needs a real balance. If you're eating very well and you are very stressed out, you're not trusting God, you are stressed, you can't absorb food very well, and then other problems follow on. So we have to understand that these things are the laws of health. It's the law of life. So it's very important for us to know how to balance everything. The sunlight, the proper rest, the proper diet, everything, sister.
I wanna say something about eating salt because we have a tendency to demonize salt.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make it clear that salt is not a bad thing if we're having good salt. So a person who was ordered not to eat salt, it's salt that we're talking about table salt that we buy that only have 2 minerals, sodium chloride. Sodium chloride with preservative and all the other things that's added, the bleach and everything that makes it what it is and keeps it dry. It's not healthy for us to eat table salt. And when we advise people and when people say things like these to us, we need to be very conscious of how to explain, because your body needs salt. And if you're a person who is suffering from high blood pressure, the doctor tells you not to eat salt. The reasoning behind the doctor saying don't eat salt is because they're speaking from their perspective, what they understand to be salt. But salt should be loaded with minerals. And that's what our bodies are made of. And if we're taking in salt for sodium in particular, a large percentage of our bodies made up of sodium. Anything that comes out of your body, you taste it, it's going to be salty. Your urine is salty,
Sweat.
your sweat is salty, and your blood might taste a little bit salty too, because your body is predominantly salt. Now, if you stop eating salt, or if they're ordered not to eat salt, the what you taste is predominantly sodium. Doctors tell the patients not to eat salt because they are eating bad salt. The salt kills their taste buds. They can't taste the salt, and because they can't taste it, they tend to use more and more of this bad salt. Now, but if they're consuming the good salt with all the minerals in it, then it should not have the same effect because it's necessary for the osmoregulation within the cell. It is absolutely necessary.
So can we ask you a quick question? So can you give us two examples of good salt, please?
So we have Himalayan salt, which is the pink salt, which is very common, at least becoming more and more common now. Once you become conscious of it, you will see it. And Celtic salt. You know, you don't see Celtic salt as much as you see pink salt, but they're around about on the same level. The magnesium level for the Celtic salt is a little bit higher than the Himalayan salt, but they kind of walk together and they are just as effective, both of them. So, you know, if you can access the Celtic salt, fine, but it will be a little bit more expensive. So those are two very good salts.
So my follow-up question is it, if they're eating these two kind of salt, Himalayan and Celtic, can they have that legally, or it's not gonna have any effect on their body, on their, fluid retention? Or not, or, I mean, really, can they have that kind of salt legally as they usually eat? I think when the doctor tells them not to eat salt, the doctor is talking to these people at the level that they are, whatever they're eating, because normally people, I mean, I don't know how many people eat Himalayan salt or Celtic salt. Even myself, it's very difficult for me. I'm used to grab that bottle of salt and put salt in most of the time, that's what I do. So, the real question is that, is it okay that these people can eat salt as usual, but using the Himalayan and Celtic salt? And that would not have an effect on their system.
Okay, the Himalayan and Celtic salt, they are two better salt to consume. The underlying variables that is involved in each individual, the salts would not have the detrimental effect that it would the regular table salt have on their health. So the water retention might not be as great. But then we have to look at the other minerals that are not there, that is necessary for the proper functioning of the body, like calcium, which is a part of, which plays a big role in the whole osmoregulation and the blood pressure, which most people overlook. You know, so there are many variables. So in order to effectively speak to an individual, we always need to do an assessment of that individual. But the effect, I do believe, should not be as great as having regular table salt. And remember, we're still talking about the laws of health, and we kind of are zeroing on nutrition, and we're talking about minerals, we're talking about iron and other nutrients. Yeah, but we talk about vitamin D, which is sunlight, and we have the others, water, and so on and so forth. So that's what our focus is on. So
if I understand you, the blood pressure patient can eat the good salt, at the same time eating the good diet, like having a good diet, having a good proper rest, proper exercise, proper hydration, and put everything together, then the salt will not be a problem.
It should not be.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that because when you eat any greens, it brings you a lot of magnesium, calcium, all of that to help to balance things out. But if you, like, the problem is to have unbalance. You see, is to have unbalance, they're eating all the bad food, and more of that, you have too much of sodium and potassium, and it creates serious trouble at the level of the cell membrane with this osmosis effect. So but if the person can eat right, sleep right, exercise, take sunlight, balance everything very well, and eating the right salt, that should be okay, right?
It should be okay.
Okay.
It should be okay. And as I said, there is so many variables that could complicate an issue, but having included all the laws of health in your daily lives, then this should help balancing the effect of salt, which would be the least of all of them.
Okay.
Yes.
I want to say something about exercise. If we have all these, eat the right salt, take our vitamins D, have the good sunlight, and we do not exercise, it's going to affect our bodies. So in order for us to have proper functioning bodies while using all these things, we need to exercise. Exercise is beneficial to the body, it's beneficial to your blood circulation, it's beneficial to your blood pressure. It's also beneficial for sleep-wise. So exercise is something that we need to participate in daily. It's once a day or twice a day. I think exercise is better done in the morning, most people do it at evening, they go to the gym. And I do not know how much benefit that is to them, but I think it still is of some benefit because they are doing exercise, and morning exercise is very good in my sense. I think it's the best. And there are different types of exercise. Some people want to run. Running takes a toll on your knees and your joints. But I believe that the walking is a very good form of exercise. Swimming also is a very good form of exercise. But walking, it is said that walking is classed as #1 best way of gaining optimum health, building your muscles, and having strong bones. All right, so this is what I believe. And I think exercise is in correlation with all the other facets in New Start, such as nutrition and all of that. So this is my take on exercise. If anybody else have any thing that you'd like to say.
Okay, to go a little further in what my brother was talking about, exercise. There's a common understanding out there that exercise means going and working yourself into a frenzy for X amount of hours. And we have to dispel that, because one of the things when you push the body to its breaking point, we lose a lot of our hormones, particularly with women. You lose a lot of your hormones, and the definition of exercise really is to just get the body to a point where the blood is flowing, so your breath is maximized, in other words. So you get into deep breathing, you're forcing the lungs to expand. That way you move excess toxins out of the lung area into the bloodstream, so that you can excrete it through your skin. Also, it will trigger off the urinary system. You find that some people who exercise a lot have very good bowel movements, very good, they go to the bathroom a lot and they sweat easier, and they get to relax because, again, one thing they talk about is endorphins. It releases the stress hormones that cause you to have restful sleep. So exercise is not going running, and one of the best way to exercise is either doing it at what we call intervals, where you have short bursts of you may run 5 meters really fast, and you stop and you walk a little bit to catch your breath, and then you go again. What you're doing, you jump starting your whole system, that you can maximize the potentiality of moving, because you're trying to get, what you're doing, you're getting the body, the whole body system involved, particularly your respiratory system. This pushes, once you get this going, it pushes everything else. So we need to, I just needed to add that.
I just want to add something to exercising. Over exercising. We hear about free radicals, and free radicals are oxygen molecules that are out of place within the body, that go around the body and find a place to attach themselves. They're released by the mitochondria, where we make energy within our cells. And they go around and they try to find a place to attach themselves, and they try to attach themselves to our good blood cells, and they damage these blood cells, and they get to the point where they cause mutation within the cell. So it is very, very important that we understand that over-exercising releases free radical, which can be destructive to the cells within the body. And that results in mutation. If we look at athletes who really work out, like, really work out that hard, you'll find that they don't have long life. Their lifespan is not that long. They live all the life they have. They are very brolic for the time they're alive, but they don't live very long. And that's because of the high level of free radical that is released because of over-exercising. Yeah.
So interval training will be much beneficial. Why? Because when you run or do anything very, very fast, you start building up this lactic acid. But when you relax now, the body have a time to undo that, so that you don't have a build up in your system to stress out your joints, your muscle, and get too much trouble. So interval training really help people. You can run very fast for 1 minute, and then relax and walk until it calms down, and you run again. So it helps you not to build up this free radical from everything and increase the acidity in your system, and they prevent from accumulating this acid in your muscles. So really, we encourage exercise. Interval training is very, very important. O'Neil? Okay.
Yes, on exercise, we talk about the one of the benefits of exercise, one of the systems that many people ignore, which is the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system, without exercise, that system can never be activated properly, so that our function, our body function become deteriorate. It's not just the blood, the blood system, but the circular, the lymphatic system is one of the main source of giving us, freeing up our body. So if it is blocked, then we have problem with multiple form of diseases. As we look at nutrition, we look at exercise, we look at sunlight, we look at water in this new start, we have to check on the lymphatic system. So exercise is really vital in this area, because it's helped to take out a lot of stuff, toxins out of our body through the lymphatic system by exercising.
And also I've learned that because of the imbalance in the hormones, people end up gaining weight instead of losing weight when they're intemperate in exercising.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you were saying about the lymphatic system, it's very important for us to understand that. We have our heart and the lungs to help to pump the blood. So why are you pumping our lymph fluid?
Nothing. Exercise.
You have like about 3 to 4 times of the amount of lymph fluid in our body. The only thing that moves the lymph through your body is moving. If you don't move, it's stagnant. Now the problem is, our lymph system is our sewer system. Everything is going to be dumped into the lymph. If you're not moving the lymph, they start smelling bad, you start having all the troubles. It is so vital, like he pointed out. It is so, so important. If your lymph is in trouble, you are in a big trouble. It's like your bathroom is clogged up. What's going to happen to that house? Exactly. So the only way you're really moving your lymph is when you move. Walking around, upstairs, going down, all of that, how you move the lymph. And when you run, you really move the lymph to sweat out toxins. Thank you so much. We almost forget that. It's a great, great thing for the lymphatic system. Yes.
Exercising in the morning is the best because the air is fresh, there is less pollution around. If you wait around 11, 12 o'clock, you almost like dead meat. You have all the trucks, all the cars, airplanes, everything. And the sun, sometimes, the rays of the sun at a certain time you should not be running because it can do damage since we have the ozone layer already damaged. So that would cause a lot more damage to your body. So really early morning, there is less pollution, the air is really fresh, and really that's the best time to walk. That's one of the reasons. Running in the afternoon, I guess you probably will lose some weight maybe, but the morning one is really the best one where the air is really at its maximum for you to breathe in, get good oxygenation, get good fuel into your body, and you feel great to go to work.
Wow. Thank you very much. So we can say that the outdoor is better than indoor exercise. All right.
With the correlation of nutrition and water, it is so important that when you're eating, you do not drink while you eat. Our stomach produces enzymes and things like that. I don't know all the semantics of, chemistry. But, our stomach produces enzymes when we eat to mix with our food. And it is advised that we drink in between meals and not with our meals, so that our digestion process can have its way, go the right way, instead of when we drink and eat, as I heard Brother Gene's son saying, I can do without this, I have to eat and drink. I say, you don't have to. If you eat, if you drink in between your eating time, there will be no need for you to be drinking while you're eating. Plus, your saliva and all of that should mix with your food so that you can have proper digestion.
Okay, one of the big issues with people who eat and drink at the same time. We have been how can I say it? We've not been taught anymore how to properly eat. We have a bad habit nowadays that we crowd our mouths, we stuff our faces. The average person, they got cheeks out to here when they sit in front to eat. When you crowd your mouth, you're not giving your salivary glands a chance to produce the saliva to mix the food. So you start choking. Hence the reason when we were growing up, they always said, chew your food 32 times. But you can't chew 32 times when your cheeks, you look like a chipmunk. But the average person does that. It's to take small bites and chew. The minute we start doing that, we break the teeth, the jaws. The molars and premolars start to grind the food. And it mixes with the salivary enzymes, which lubricates the food and goes down. So when we're talking about eating and drinking together, that is where the problem is. We crowd our mouths too much. We pack it in and try to wolf down everything. I have a question though, in that a lot of us still follow the, okay, don't eat and drink. But the question is always raised, okay, so when we drink, could we drink? What does cold water do also to our digestion? Can anybody on the panel respond for me?
Stops digestion.
Andrew.
Stops digestion.
Well, first of all, I would like to mention that if you want to avoid to drink, that has been my struggle in 2001. I was sick, I don't have no choice to follow what the elder of the church telling me. He said, if you want to get well, you need to change everything. So what do you mean? If you say everything, you gotta stop eating your fish, your meat, everything, and go this way, exercise, like all the 8 laws. But it was almost impossible not to drink while eating. That's how I grew up. So I tried the first day, the second day I forgot. The third day I tried one time, it reached the point where I cannot, I drink the water. So finally I said, okay, you know what? Then I need to be drinking enough water from the morning. When you wake up, the first thing to do is hydrate your body first.
Amen. Yes.
Then, if you know you are going to eat food in an hour or 40 minutes, drink enough water. And the body, because you need water. You really need the water to digest well. But you don't need the water the time you are eating. So drink like 40 to an hour, even 30 minutes of sleep fine. And you drink enough water. If you do so, when you will be eating, you will not feel any need to drink. But you wake up in the morning, you didn't drink anything. Then the first thing you go to drink is coffee. Now when you drink 1 cup of coffee, you need 5 cups of water to balance it out that. So you are already deficient when you wake up, but you don't put anything in. And you go now, you drink something that asks the body for more water. So you put the body in such a level of
War.
I don't know how to say it. Like the body is like thirsty. And at the time now it's lunchtime to eat. Oh no, you gotta start by drinking. Because you're so thirsty, you even need some cold water to go with it. The cold water is so bad. Why? Inside the stomach, it's like the stove is hot. And it helps a lot. And the hydrochloric acid, the pH is very strong. It's between 2 and 3. In that condition, you can't put any coal in that fire. You just can't do that. But unfortunately, that's what we do. And the whole system is like maxed out. But thank God the body adapt to it, but not 100%. You end up mixing up a lot. I'm going to let Dr. Brown go a little bit about that on the cold water during the meal.
Okay, so I just want to say, I just want to clarify, with the drinking of water while you're eating, what it does, it dilutes the digestive enzyme, and that results in improper digestion. Because remember, we said pH is affected by concentration, temperature. So those are 2 very, very important factors that impact the pH of our stomach, which is 1. Our mouth is alkaline, and our stomach is acidic. And that's ideally how it should be. Now, when we drink water while we're eating, we're just diluting everything, and we just have slog in our stomach. And it just go through, the digestive enzyme can't work as they should. Now, another factor that I want to point out as to when we drink our water before we eat, what we're doing, we're trying to hydrate our body so we can produce enzyme to help with the breakdown of the food that we eat. So when we don't drink water, and as we point out, we're dehydrated, When we're dehydrated, our bodies cannot produce our digestive enzymes. And if the food is not being digested with the concentration of enzyme, or if we are deficient in enzyme, we're gonna choke, because we're not lubricating our food the way it should with the right liquid. So we drink water. And that's probably one of the biggest problems with a lot of people. That enzyme must be concentrated. It must be at a specific level of concentration. It is very specific. So that is why the enzyme in our mouth will not digest protein. It doesn't do anything for protein of any nature when we take it in, because they're very specific. If they don't fit together, they can't digest the substrate. So it is very critical that we hydrate our system in such a way that we would have, our bodies will be producing enzyme that will work to digest the food that we're consuming.
Now, still about drinking water during meal. If you dilute your hydrochloric acid, that hydrochloric acid is supposed to break down your protein into amino acid. So if you are not breaking down your protein properly, and then if at the level of your sponsor you have a leaky gut, this whole protein goes through that leaky gut into your bloodstream, it creates inflammation. And inflammation brings any kind of trouble. Okay? Like the wheat problem with, what do you call it? Gluten intolerant. Gluten is a long chain of protein. And that should be breaking down very well in your stomach with the hydrochloric acid. But guess what? You drink water during the meal, it can't be broken down properly. And that long chain go down when it end up in your small intestine for absorption. Right there, you also have a lot of trouble with your gut, and then it's leaking. And that whole chain get into your bloodstream. Big trouble. Any disease come out. Any autoimmune disease come out. So it's so important for us to understand how all of these things work together for our good. That's how marvelous God, like God is so great and make everything to work together. Okay?
Thing is, we were trained, just like in the church, certain things that are said. It's the same at home. You grow up, you have your plate of food and a nice glass of juice and or what they call it, lemonade. A nice glass of lemonade on the side, it's good. And I remember when we started this, we used to have plenty of food, but at the end of the table right there, a big jar of lemonade. And I used to make that lemonade myself. Until to a certain point we stopped doing it. So as I used to hear Pastor Cookie say that, you develop brain cells for certain things. So it becomes very hard to change. But I just want to say something that might be helpful to make change in life. I remember going to lab at school. There are some experiments. They would take place only at a very exact temperature. If the temperature is not what it is supposed to be, nothing. The moment that the temperature rises to that level, boom! I mean, you see that thing the things are there, nothing moves, and the minute that the temperature is at the level it should be, and it happens. The reaction happens. So I guess it's the same for the body. So there's a certain temperature. If we drink a lot, and that delays the action. Now, I'm used to drink and I'm eating. And I do it occasionally with a guy for eating. But what I realized as I'm trying not to drink while eating, I try not to drink. Then when I try to drink, I feel myself nauseous.
You really build the cells.
I'm building some new cells, I'm building. So I get a little nauseous. I get nauseous drinking while eating. So something maybe we should try, give it a try and see if the Lord somehow will put some guards, some barriers for us to stop. You know. I do it occasionally. I try to rationalize the reason why I'm drinking. I didn't get a chance to drink during the whole day. Now I need a little more fluid for the food too. So we should try. You know, like I said, I get a little nauseous. I get nauseous, really nauseous. But you know, if I drink when I'm eating, so somebody may try that. No, I mean not eating. Not drinking.
We need to make this point very clear. In Health Living, page 13, paragraph 1, it said the violation of the law of health is sin. God gave us this body to function in a certain way to be healthy. And ignorance about the healthful way of living is also sin. Now, in ministry, medical ministry, page 13, paragraph 4, and page 14, paragraph 1, it says, when we willfully violate these laws and we get sick, when we pray and fast, God will not hear. If we call the pastor and the elder to pray, it said God did not see it fit to answer this prayer because the health will again be sacrificed on the altar of appetite.
Unhealthy appetite.
Unhealthy appetite, sorry.
Unhealthy appetite.
So we have to be very aware. It's not just about a lifestyle. It's a call to obey divine order to keep this body that we have been given for a time. Okay, it's a solemn call that we will glorify God before people. If you go anywhere, you are so healthy. Do we know it was in the news that how Adventists in Loma Linda are so healthy? You know we are part of the blue zone. Yes. That is for the glory of God. Mm-hmm. And Loma Linda coming from where? From the vision God gave to Sister Way. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? God wants us to be the people of health. Mm-hmm. So they will come to us when they need help. And when they get help, they will tell them, it's our God doing everything. And they get gospel also. Mm-hmm. That's why it's the right arm of the gospel. So we need to see it's not optional. It is a divine command for our own good. Thank God for giving us laws that will help us to be healthy. Amen? Amen. All right, sister. Yeah.
Yes, water is very important to lubricate your joints, your eyes, keep your skin healthy looking. But the question is, how much water should one drink? Should we drink 8 ounces or should we drink half a body's weight? And what type of water should we drink?
Give it to Dr. Brown to answer now.
Okay. Half our body weight is one way of calculating the amount of water you need to drink per day. You could also divide your weight by 16 and drink that amount of cups of water for the day. So that's one way of calculating it. Now, the type of water that you should drink. You should drink water predominantly at a pH of 7. That should be the water that you drink consistently. Now, you know, there are many, many different types of water that exist on the market that we buy. We buy our water in plastic bottles, and that's just one of the first oxymoron. We buy the water which, you know, a lot of the chemical component of the water, the bottle is leaching the water, and they will tout the products that they're selling. There are some that says, oh, this is a pH of 9, which is on the alkaline scale. I don't know how much of these water that we try to test the pH to see what pH is this water really. You know, so we need to be drinking water that is pH of 7 or higher, but not, I would not recommend that we drink water that is excessively alkaline, because alkalinity to a certain degree can be destructive as well. Our water must be absorbable, and a lot of the times the water we're drinking is not getting into the cell. And that is what causes us to be so off balance. It's causing us to be so dry, our bones are cracking, our feet swelling up, our bodies are swollen, or we're drinking water and the water is not going into the cell, it's floating around the cell. And we are drinking water, but we're dehydrated. You know, so if you really, really sit and think about it, you know, what I would recommend, because the water we buy, it is sold on the market and we buy these water, but we buy them under the heading that they promote them. But we still don't know what we're drinking. They could just fill the tap. I drink water and I say, this water tastes dry. And if you ask me to explain what it means I'm drinking the water, but my mouth still is just so dry. It's not like the water itself is just not having that lubricating effect. So I am still trying to decipher what makes these water taste the way they do. But it could be told, I mean, there's no new drop of water, and that's what we need, a good filtration system. We need a good system to filter our water. And if we have ionizers, water that go through, and sometimes the molecules are so big, it breaks up the water molecules. So the plates on these filters, some of them break the water molecules up. So it makes the water more absorbable. So that is something that, you know, and only when you taste the difference you could know. You will never know until you drink real water that you're drinking real water. So when you drink the water, you could feel and taste the difference of how hydrated you become. You're drinking it and you feel it literally walking through your system, it going into your cell, and your body comes alive. You drink a lot of these water, they go through and it's just going straight in the bathroom. Your body is not being hydrated. And if it stays in your system, it causes you to be off balance. The whole body become off balance. The hormones are out of line. And it's a lot of chemicals. The most we can do is get a good filtration system. We filter our water, and I can guarantee you that your water is going to be tasting better, and you are going to be drinking a whole lot more water.
So, question.
Who do I take?
They said that in water, one of the best way of purifying our water is using charcoal. Charcoal. You can put the charcoal in the water for even a day, or
Just
leave it in there, and it will get the water to be pure and awesome to drink. And also, I like to share this. I read this book. You're not sick, you're thirsty, by Dr. Batmandi. He cured over 2,000 people in prison just from pelvic ulcer by giving them water treatment. And so the name of the book, You're Not Sick, You're Thirsty, it tells you that many people claim to be sick, but in fact they are thirsty because enough water is not going into the system. And our body, it is said that our body is made of up to 75 to 70% of water. So we really need water because we use water in many, our organs need water to function. We use water not only just to refresh ourselves, but we need water to help our system, our body system.
The usual water we drink have 22 to 24 molecules clubbed in one.
Which one? Top water?
The usual water we drink, usual. And it needed to be breaking down to single molecule to be able to go through the cell membranes and get into the cells. That's where we have the biggest challenge from. So there's a doctor, his name is Dr. Robert Young. He designed a machine called water marker that able to break down the 22 molecule of water into single. So when you take it, it's easily absorb into the cell very well. And then plus that, if you keep your magnesium level high, your hydration will be very good.
I just want to share, one thing I've noticed about water when it comes to my daughter. At one point when she would eat like a lot of salad, like I'd give her just a bowl of salad and that would be her lunch. And she would take a bite or two of cooked food and I would be satisfied with that. When she eats like that, and then I give her water to drink 2 hours after, I notice a difference in her bowel movement versus when I give her the salad and she doesn't drink a sufficient amount of water. The bowel movement is different. So one of the things I try to stick to, and even I tell my mother-in-law to stick to, is that after she eats, wait 2 hours, and then try to give her some water. And now that she's 2.5, I try to give her an ounce of water for her body weight because she needs more water to digest what she's getting. And what I noticed too, just recently I noticed this with her, she after she gets her breakfast, she doesn't really want lunch, she'll wait until dinner time. So it's like she put herself on a 2-meal diet, whereby she gets her breakfast and then in between that she'll either get her herbal tea, a glass or two, and she'll drink herbal tea.
She's drinking herbal tea already?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
She's been drinking herbal tea since she was 6 months. So she drinks herbal tea, a glass or two, in between the day or first in the morning or just before bed. So I just wanted to share that with you guys that, you know, water does help with the bowel movements.
Oh, okay. I want to share something on water. My girls know about water. First thing they wake up in the morning is water. Wake up in the morning, brush teeth, wash face, then go drink water. They don't have breakfast. They never did. I don't ever give them breakfast. They eat lunch and dinner. That's it. I don't eat breakfast for myself. I drink water. But what I find out I have a problem is that I drink the water, but the water is not going into my system. I drink, I pee constantly. They say I should sip. I sip, I pee. That's my problem. And you know, they say I should use Celtic salt. You know, take some Celtic salt under the tongue, then drink your water. But back home in Jamaica, it wasn't like that. But then when I went back home and I drank the water back home, I just kept going to the bathroom. I couldn't drink it. The water was just too much for my body. I had to go and buy the water. I couldn't drink the water that was there in the tap. Like it was too what you call it, soft water, and it just went. You just keep going to the bathroom. Your body couldn't, you know. And I come to this country, I realized that it's like a different water. No matter what label you buy, they're like they just don't stick in it just doesn't do anything for my cells. So I'm always thirsty. I went to the doctor. They checked for diabetes, none. But I'm just very thirsty because the water is not getting into the cells. So that's my biggest problem with water. I do drink water, but they're not getting into my cells, so I just pee it out.
Check your magnesium level.
Question. If your water is good, do you still have to have a high magnesium level for it to go into the cells?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you.
You don't need to take magnesium where you're drinking. You just need to have enough magnesium by if you're eating salad, having your green juice, all of that, it brings you a lot of magnesium.
Well, I take magnesium.
Yeah, it's not during the water you have to take magnesium. Have enough magnesium by your salad you're eating, your green juice. You know that what the whole thing is a balance in everything. You know, it's really, really important for us.
I will say something on what you say about drinking the water and being. The same thing used to happen to me, but I used to drink a lot of distilled water without the knowledge of knowing that I had to put the salt in it. But when I drink the water from the regular tap water, being purified, in a purifier, it doesn't happen. I don't go often, I go, regularly, like maybe, hours later. And I noticed since, I don't know if I know you drink a smoothie, green juice. I noticed since I'm drinking the green juice, after my lemon water in the morning, since I put my diet, I eat only one cooked meal a day, and I'm on more raw diet. I noticed that my urine is different, and I'm not that thirsty. But when I have my green juice, like 9 a.m., I'll have it, or green smoothie. Normally, it's a smoothie with, celery or kale, cucumber, whatever. But I just put maybe 2 or 3. You can use parsley, you can use whatever I have at the moment. Always 2 greens in there. And then I will have that around 9 a.m. or when I'm hungry. And I notice I'm not that thirsty anymore. I used to be very thirsty. I used to pee often. It's changed. So now I know about the Celtic salt or the Himalayan pink salt. I will add that to my distilled water. But every minute it was just going right through my body. So maybe try the smoothie, I would say.
But I do the smoothie in
The
the morning.
green smoothie in the morning. And try to get a purifier, so you use the tap water and purify it and see if it's changed in your body. And I want to ask, one question, I had 2, but I forgot the other one, about the vitamin D. It's very important, you say, we get it from the sun, but there's a lot of over-the-counter multivitamins that says that they have vitamin D6, 12. So is that really, or is just like a saying, just to sell, it's on the bottle? Because a lot of people take supplements, say, oh, I'm taking my vitamin D, or, pop in some pills, I'm taking my vitamin D. Is there, other than the greens, or is there any other way, other than the sunshine, that you can get vitamin D?
Yes, you can have vitamin D, but the quality will be different. God made is always God made. Okay? So they do some kind of a good form of vitamin D3 from some olive extract. Some honest companies doing it. They can't replace the sun. Now, thank God, he knew it's going to be so bad. If your body store enough of vitamin D3, meaning you expose yourself enough, you have enough of good quality of fat under your skin, you can store vitamin C for 6 months. D, for 6 months. Okay? But anytime you have, like last week, you have a day, we have 63. Go get some. It's free. It's free. Now, when it comes to distilled water, it's a hungry water. Never ever drink that water by itself like that. It will drain your mineral out. Do not. It will get you sick. Don't drink distilled water by itself unless it was for some medicine, but by itself, no. Always put salt in it. The best, how much? I would suggest a 1/4 teaspoon in 1 gallon, and then you can build up a little more than that.
Can you put lemon juice as well?
Oh yeah, very well. And your liver will love that. Your liver and your kidney will be very happy.
I love my liver.
All right. Yeah.
I would like to know when is the best time to drink water after meal.
Okay, to drink water after meal depends on how heavy is your meal, how long that meal will digest. For example, if you eat a meal raw, like my sister love to do sprouts. If you eat a whole bowl of salad as a sprout, believe me, that food is even digesting before you're eating it. That is just enzyme. Live food. If you chew that slowly, I can tell you, you're gonna finish to digest that in 2 hours or less. If you blend it, it goes a little much faster. You understand? So that is different. So I can tell you, if you eat that kind of food, drink the next hour, you're okay. It won't disturb you at all. But no, because if the food is heavy enough, you're gonna spend a lot of time here in the stomach.
Yeah.
So if at that time it's still in the stomach and you dump water in it, you are creating trouble. So it depends on the consistency and the quality of the food you are eating. Okay? Now if the food you are eating is a highly rich in protein, that means you're gonna spend more time in the stomach to be able to break down. So when and how to eat, to drink water is very, very important. It depends on the food you eat and how you eat the food, in which form, and everything. So the best thing about drinking water, the best is the morning. Start your day with enough water, and make sure your body is constantly having enough magnesium. Okay, and look at the quality of water you are taking. If you can get some devices that can help, like Dr. Brown, she has some good machine to help. It still help you, believe me, help you a lot. You know, we need to learn also to invest in our health. Otherwise, we are going to give it to the doctor. I don't say don't support doctor, but focus on you first, okay?
Sparkling water.
From personal experience with vitamin D, getting it naturally from the sun, in 2017, when I started studying with Pastor Coco, the medical mission, I started practicing these things, and I went into the park like in the morning, and I sit in the sun for at least half an hour, because the darker your skin, you need at least half an hour into the sun, based on the study that I went through. Half an hour, but the lighter the skin, you need only 15 minutes of the sun. And when I did that, my energy level throughout the day was soaring. Since I have not been practicing as much as doing it that way, but I still do, but not as how I usually. My energy level is not 100%, but I start to resort back to that format. So getting the vitamin D naturally from the sun is really vital for the functioning of the body.
With the D, I find out that whenever I expose myself to the sunlight, I get a better sleep. So when I'm at work, the pool is in the backyard, and when the sun hits the pool, it gets the house very, very hot. When I go out there and I get full sun, because you get it hot, you get it everything. And let me tell you, I sleep like a baby. And back home, you know, in Jamaica, the house was to sleep. You don't live in the house, you live outside. Go outside, don't come in the house until it's night. And we didn't have any problem with sleep back home. We would sleep. I was so strong when I come here. I had 20 patients, and I alone would put those 20 patients in their bed, take them out, do whatever. I did not need any help until, of course, I got Americanized, and I got weak. There was not, but I was so super strong. I was doing 3 shifts a day straight. I would leave one hospital to a next, and I was never tired. I was fine. And I got Americanized. Now I'm tired after 2 hours.
Watercress and sesame seeds are good sources of vitamin D.
Thank you.
Watercress and sesame seeds.
Yeah.
For vitamin D and sun, most of the time people go to the beach and they expose to the sun, and the next minute they jump in the water. Your body is very bad for your body. The body don't want that. When you take the sunlight, it's gonna take you at least 2 hours for the body to process that sunlight energy with the fat under your skin to make the vitamin D you're gonna need. So during that 2 hours, you don't put no water on your skin.
But we're black people, we don't.
You gotta leave that so that the body can have a time to synthesize to make the vitamin D for you. So please go take a sun bath at a time. It's like don't drink and eating, then don't take shower or don't take any water after you finish taking any sun bath. Wait for 2 hours. Okay, it's very, very important.
I think you just answered my question, because we always talk about sunshine and sunlight. So last July I went back home and I said I'm gonna get me some sun today because I went on the beach with my family. And after that day, my skin was burning me so much that I got sunburned. I felt as though someone took a heater and rested on my back here. So what you're saying there, I think, is in relationship to sunburn. If you take sun, you mustn't go into the water.
And you
That's
went
what you're
into the
saying?
water?
Okay, I'm
Into the
saying
water?
this. Your skin, you see, we should not have sunburn.
Yes.
Even the white people should not have any sunburn.
Especially me.
It's because we are so deficient.
Yeah.
And our body is, our skin is made of very bad fat from the bad food we are eating. Nobody should have sunburn. White or black, no one. We are becoming so modified. God never made any sun to burn us. We made ourselves to become available to be burned. You know, so if you have a good quality of a good cholesterol under your skin, you cannot burn. It's when the skin is made of all the bad fat, then sorry, trouble is there. You know, so the problem is not the sun. Who's the problem?
Us.
We are the problem. Okay, so what I was saying previously is when you take sun exposure, normally it's a time also to take it. The best time is around 10 to 12 and take just 30 minutes out of it, it's fine. But this excessive exposure is not good. Okay, it's not very good for you. And don't spend the hours. Now after you take your exposure, the proper one, don't just go take a shower or jump in the sea no, it's not okay. We need extra 2 hours for the body to process all of that and sensitize it. So just wait, and after the 2 hours, you can take a shower or jump in the sea or play anything. All right?
I just want to comment on watercress. When I went to Missouri, they had a little stream because I had to make salad for the woman that I was there taking care of. And they have the stream right there. I go, I pick it, and they don't even use it. And they have it like fresh there, and it's hard to find organic watercress here. So what we need to do is learn how to identify herbs. Just go on your phone, look watercress, what it looks like, and I go pick it, and I eat as much as I could there. While the woman I was taking care of, she couldn't even eat it because she had like she didn't have a tolerance for it. But you know, if we have any streams nearby, whatever, just look and see what it looks like, and go pick it and use it.
You know, watercress is richer than kale, than all of these greens. It's way than any of these greens we eat. Watercress top.
There's a lot in the Caribbean.
But unfortunately, we have a lot of fake in the market. So if you can find a wild one, play it without temperance. No, don't do this, okay? Eat as much as you can, but not over. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question that needs to be answered because it's going to be posted. And I was having a discussion, but it wasn't understood for whatever reason. I met opposition. Taking in vitamin D, is it a good idea to stand by the window with the sun shining in? I would like this to be answered because it was interpreted as my own perspective. But since I have a board of persons here who are doing the same thing and have a little more knowledge, please expound.
Is it a good idea to take in?
Because as I said, you're not getting direct exposure.
Right.
But it was
You're on the
totally
window.
it was totally disagreed. So can someone on the panel explain why it's not a good idea and why you're not actually getting any vitamin D?
From the sun coming through the window, or reflecting from the glass.
So it's for the vitamin D coming through the windows of the car, in the windows of your house. It's not the vitamin. You need direct sunlight. It's like a greenhouse. So greenhouse traps heat. So the heat is trapped in there anyway. That is why our cars are so hot. When we go in, you think that heat is okay. It's not. The sun coming in, okay, it's coming in, I'm getting hot, that's enough. But it's not activating the receptors on the cell for the absorption of vitamin D.
Okay.
And that is critical for you to actually absorb this vitamin D, and the body converts it to D3 where you can utilize it. So you must have direct exposure. If you have a kidney issue, they'll tell you, you will be told, you need to expose that area on your body, where the kidneys are, in order, it's not, but it is recommended if you're dealing with an issue that relates directly to your kidneys.
So you should open the window.
You should open the window and you should be exposed so that the receptor cells can be activated to absorb the sunlight.
Thank you.
You see, I believe everything God has done is with the highest wisdom. If God thought it would be better to have a glass, maybe we want to put some glass around us.
That's right, that's right, that's
The
right.
way He put it, just take it right there.
Or umbrellas that
You
we
know?
like to use.
So, if it's possible, just go the best way.
Amen.
Unless you find yourself in some condition, but it's better. It's better because these glasses, they have different kind of glasses. You know how much the glass is filtering this ray from the sunlight. It will prevent you from having the proper effect it should have. Try the best to have the way it should be. Okay? I would suggest that we go do more research about that.
See, that's why I was saying that back home in Jamaica, the house was not for living in, it was for sleeping in. And we were always outside. Always outside. You find the kids, they were so much stronger, so much energetic, so much better. Brain working so much better. Kids would go to school, they would be outside playing, test time come, and they go and do their test and they would pass. You're like, but you didn't study. They were, it's this, it's this life that they were living where everything just come together and just work. But over here, you come here in the house all the time.
And that's what happened in North America, and that is why we all become deficient in vitamin D, which is absolutely critical for sustaining our health. If you should check your cancer patient, every cancer patient is deficient in vitamin D, and it's not one of the things that is sought after. It's not something that is looked into as a priority when our patients go to doctors. It's not. You have to ask to get your vitamin D level checked. Doctors deal with your condition as you come to them or what you come for. It's not holistic. It's not being looked on from that perspective. I just want to address something that you brought forth where you talk about multivitamins. And then if you should check your multivitamins, and I'm speaking specifically of vitamins that has several different layers, the B complex and all of these, in most cases, based on what I've seen, when you look at the vitamin D level that is in most of these, it lies between 400 and 500, which for us who lives inside and is not getting sunshine at all, for the most part, especially for this season, the winter, it's insignificant in bringing your vitamin D level up. And in most cases, we want to consume, our bodies are going to need about 5,000 to 10,000 IU of vitamin D on a daily basis to maintain our lives. Now, when we go out in the sun for 30 minutes, depending on the amount of melanin in our skin, we are getting 75,000 IU of vitamin C on average. Vitamin D. So, taking 400 in our multivitamin is really not doing anything for us. So, for what it's worth, I would recommend you take it in isolation and you take between 5,000 and 10,000 IU at least twice a day, and worse off if you're having issues with your joints and so on and so forth, you want to top up on your vitamin D in particular.
For example, me personally, I take multivitamins, and I also do 5,000 of vitamin D3 with magnesium and this bone help is the calcium. Now, would you recommend, is that good, or I should not be doing the vitamin D? And when should I take it?
So it's calcium, it is vitamin D,
5,000.
calcium, and potassium, magnesium, so they are all in one?
No, 3 different bottles.
No, that's fine, it says, okay, I mean, but I'm just saying,
What is the best time to take that?
Dinner time.
take all of them?
Yeah,
Are you taking them once a day, twice a day?
I take them once a day.
And when do you experience, you take them in the evening or morning?
Evening.
Okay, but you could, the evening is fine if you feel most of, I mean, depend on when you feel most of your discomfort, you know, but the assimilation would be just fine whether you take it morning or evening. Mhm.
To assimilate vitamin D, should be taken in the evening with your dinner.
Yeah.
It assimilate better.
Yeah.
If you can take it twice a day.
Once a day is good. I wouldn't take it twice a day. Once a day. Vitamin D, you will be overdoing vitamin D.
Okay, just a comment from last week, the class that we had. I learned that in terms of protein, to help you to digest proteins, like if you're making, these smoothies with the seeds and the nuts, which we did last week. We had 3 days of prayer, fasting, and health, healing, and we had, herbal teas and the smoothies during the lunch. That as you get older, the concentration of your hydrochloric acid is lowered, so you can take digestive enzymes to actually help you with your digestion. So if you're using a lot of high protein foods, you can use digestive enzymes to help you digest your protein. And I think there's also hydrochloric acid that you can buy. The capsules. If anyone wants to know where to get it, they can get it. But one question would be, if you're having a good nutrition, exercise, you're hydrating well, and you get all the vitamin D that you can in this country during the summer, and you store it up in your body, why is it still that some of these people who have all these things, they're still sick? Why is it that they're still sick?
Because your body's not assimilating it.
No, we still sick because not natural. You see, the animal in the bush, they don't need no education. There goes the way God put things, they don't have any trouble. Our problem is everything we want to make it better and we make it worse. The food, we process the food. The water, we poison the water. Even taking a shower, we put too much into these things. All this fluorine and chlorine we have in the water alone is weakening your bones. It's messing up your hormones. We are so exposed. You get in your car, you breathe in anything. You cooking, you breathe in something. We always picking up toxin, everything, poison. You eating your food, you're full of chemicals. So we have to be aware. We are in an artificial life with all its outcome. So I would like Dr. Brown to add to it.
I just want to add on to that, because the variables that you mentioned, they are getting all the sunshine they need in the summer, and how do we determine how much they need and how much they're getting? We are looking at the nutrition, we're looking at all these variables, but I just cannot make a comment towards a specific situation, because the way I see things, I need to analyze it in order to determine. Because someone would say, okay, I'm getting all the nutrition that I need. How do you determine that?
Right.
How do we measure that? We're getting all the sunlight we need, we're doing all the exercise and drinking all the water. Exactly. How do we decide that what you're doing and how you're doing it is okay for you. And that's something that we'll have to table until we can deal with each case on a specific basis to determine what is the best thing for you. What are the variables that are affecting you? So I have to, for me personally, and for any medical missionary, that's the approach that you need to take. You cannot make an assessment based on something that somebody says. I'm eating healthy. What does that mean for you, for your situation? So that's how I would look at it. So for that, we're just gonna table it until we could deal with specifics for each individual, and that was the only way we could answer that question to the fullest. And today we looked at water and exercise, sunlight, and nutrition and its correlation to our health and well-being. And as we established, God made these laws of health for our own good. And if God decided that this was what was best for us, that's like the manual you get in your car. These laws of health, we could associate it with the car manual. Whatever God decides that is best for us, it is always the best, and there is nothing better that exists anywhere that will work better than what God prescribed for us. He made our bodies. He knows the intricacies of all the functionality. It takes mankind hundreds of years to research and find out the connection. God knew all of these before He even made us, and He laid it out. He provided everything in all the forms that we were going to need. We were going to sin, and these things would come in play for us and to maintain and sustain our health while living on earth. At the end of the day, time of trouble, for the finishing of God's work, we need to fully understand how the laws of health help to sustain health for everyone. We need to understand it in order to help and to bring those others that are out there to become a part of the fold. And the Lord told us this is what we will use to finish the work. So it is very important that we all understand the laws of health, understand how to apply them and utilize them in the healing process. I just want to thank all of us who are here and were part of this discussion. And it was really a very good discussion. Thank you very much.
All right, we want to say thanks to our sister, and she's a real blessing to be among us, Dr. Brown. For people who don't know, she practiced natural medicine as a naturopathic doctor. So if you are listening to us, you have a health issue, she really have the experience to help you out. You can call, you can text us, and she will be really, really available to help you. Okay? Sister, we want to thank you very much for your time. I was so amazed to see what one person has done. And this is a challenge to all of us to upgrade all we want to do. Okay? Again, thank you very much. If you don't mind, you can give your contact to people who are listening to us. Maybe some people might reach out to you.
My number is, and this is the best way to get me, you could either text or call. My number is 301-641-0478.
Website?
301-641-0478.